Hi everyone, it's Mr. Reed. Hope you're doing well and welcome to my video on week 22 for new grammar. And we had a very small class today. We were missing two of our students. Lucy, Anna, we missed you today and wish you could have joined us. So wanted to put out this course video so your folks can watch and come up with some different ideas to teach the new grammar. So with that, let's get started. So let's start with math. With math, we are continuing our new series on laws, and today we learned about the cumulative law for addition and multiplication. And that states as A plus B equals B plus A. And for the cumulative law for multiplication states A times B equals B times A. And the way that we learned this today was we did kind of more of a physical activity where when we got to the point talking about A plus B, I actually had the kids, they were standing up, and when we said A plus B, everybody jumped and flipped a 180 facing the other direction and said equals B plus A. So just like with the law, we're flipping the letters around, so we thought it would be fun to just kind of jump and flip around and state the rest of that equation. And we did that for the multiplication law as well. So we went through that about maybe 4 or 5 times, and the kids seemed to really enjoy it, and we had a lot of fun and getting moving with that one. Latin. So with Latin, we repeated from last week. We are reviewing again fourth declension noun endings. And so if you want to go through the melody of that we've gone through from the CCCD, you're welcome to review that from my previous video from last week. And next, let's see, we have science. So with science, we were learning about what are some kinds of weather fronts. And the way that we learned about 4 kinds of weather fronts was I took the melody from one of the songs from Disney Frozen, and that is Let It Go. And I used that melody of that song to help us learn the 4 different kinds of weather fronts. This is how it sounds. Weather fronts, weather fronts. What are some kinds of weather fronts? Weather fronts, weather fronts. Some kind of weather fronts are cold and warm and stationary, occluded. These are some kinds of weather fronts. So we went ahead and sang the 4 types of weather fronts with that Disney Frozen melody about 5 or 6 times, and I think the kids weren't sure at first, but then they were kind of getting into the melody and really enjoyed it. I know my kids really liked it. They're big fans of Frozen. So that was what we did for science. All right, next is English. All right, so with English, we are learning some new linking verbs. And those linking verbs that we learned: feel, become, remain, and taste. And the way that we learned these linking verbs was we actually did 13 jumping jacks as we did those, and so everybody did a fantastic job with that. We were definitely worn out doing those jumping jacks, repeating 13 times through those linking verbs. Next is timeline. With timeline, we started with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and went all the way down to 154, which was U.S. astronauts walk on the moon. And for timeline, we have been doing some hand motions with that for a while, but today we actually took out the voice cube, which we haven't done in a while, and we did some funny voices to go through the timeline on that this week. All right, now we're going to talk about what we did in class today with history. In history, we are learning about the British North American Act of 1867. And with this, we actually learned some new hand motions to go along with the CC song. And I'll go ahead and go through the different hand motions from the song here. So The first one we did was actually a repeat hand motion from last week. We did for Britain. We're using the word British, but we're going to use this same hand motion. And that was to lay one hand flat like this, and then our other one cupped like this, to represent British. Next was the North American Act, and with that, we were still in our hand motion for British, and from there we actually went ahead and took our right hand up like this, and lowered our left hand down. And what we're doing is we're kind of demonstrating like we're kind of opening up a scroll. So the North American Act. All right, next one is established. With established, we put our two hands down by our side like this. Next is Dominion of Canada, or just the word Canada was a repeat from last week. And for that hand motion for Canada, we took our right hand and we went like this, thumping our chest for Canada. All right, next word is gained. With gain, we took our two hands and crossed them to the side, just below just right about our shoulder, to represent gained. And right after we say gained, we say independence. And for independence, we stay in this position for gained, and we let go of our hands down like this, like we're gaining independence. So gained independence. All right, the next one is French. France, that was a repeat again from last week. So with France, or French, we did the American Sign Language for France, which is 3 fingers up like this, and then move 180 degrees like that. And the next word is spoke. So we took a couple fingers in our hand up to our lips, and we went out like this. So we spoke. And the final word that we have is Quebec. In Quebec, we use the letter Q from American Sign Language, which is your 3 fingers, close them in like a fist, but then you take your pointer finger and your thumb and you go down like that. Let me kind of bring it up a little bit closer there. So that's Q. That's representing Quebec. So let's go ahead and go through the whole timeline with the hand motions and show you how that looks. In 1867, the British North American Act established the Dominion of Canada. Canadians gained total independence from Britain in 1982. French is spoken in the province of Quebec. So those are our hand motions through the history. All right, and last but not least, we have geography. So geography, we actually started with geography today. That was what one of the kids recommended that we do. So we went over to the table and learned geography. And that was South America on the west side. So the western countries of South America, which were Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Chile. Okay, so that is all of our new grammar for week 22, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully seeing all of my students next week for week 23. Have a great week.